folks, Brian Havens here, back in my shop answering some questions emailed to me. A couple of folks who have seen my shop tour video have been asking me, what's up with that dust collector?
This is what a stock Delta 50-760 dust collector looks like. And this is what happens to the same dust collector when I have an overstock of melamine coated particle board. Kidding aside, there were 4 issues I wanted to resolve with this dust collector. The first was simply that the dust collector was too tall. Or perhaps it's more accurate to say that my ceiling was too low. It turned out that the ideal spot for my dust collector had this lowered ceiling in the way. The second issue is that I wanted to ventilate outside, as opposed to recycling the air back into my shop. Now perhaps this is a bit paranoid, but I find this is the only way that I can be certain that I'm not breathing that finest of dust. The solution was to exchange the filter for a box that has vents on the back side. On the upper left you can see the 2 holes that lead to 2 dryer vents on the outside of the house. And this is what the dryer vents look like on the outside of the house. I first tried running this setup without any kind of filtering at all, but I found that there was quite a bit of dust making it outside and making a mess out of the yard. The solution I came up with was to replace the filter bag with a burlap bag. This keeps the heavier dust particles inside. One word of caution if you're thinking about ventilating your dust collector outdoors. When you push air out of your shop, fresh air has to take its place, so be sure you have an adequate source of ventilation. Otherwise, you may draw air from dangerous places like exhaust flues. The third issue I wanted to solve was distributing dust collection to various parts of my shop. The Y connector that came with the dust collector was not very useful. One of the ports is always pointing directly at the dust bag or directly at the wall. So I built another melamine box to use as the distributor. To interface to the hoses and pipes, I used a standard blast gate by drilling the appropriate size hole and mounting the blast gate with screws. The blast gates connect nicely to flexible hose. I also have a spare glass gate that I use with a quick connect in case I need an extra dust port. Another advantage of using blast gates here is that I can isolate the different lines. The fourth and final issue I wanted to solve was separating heavy dust before it goes into the second stage of the dust collector. The separator is integrated into the same box as the distributor is. Below I have a standard 5-gallon pail to catch all the heavy dust. This dust separator just works okay. It catches most of the heavy dust, but I do wish it would catch more of the dust before going into the second stage. I've tried several ways of adding baffles in order to direct the dust into the pail, but nothing seems to work really well. If you have any ideas on how I can improve this, I'm open to suggestions.
Well, there you have it, the lowdown on my dust collector modifications. And if you have any questions you want to ask me about my shop, feel free to email me. I'm Brian Havens, thanks for watching.